Everybody go ahead and start your recording sessions. It's going to record. Okay. For this particular session, you're going to need Laura. Hold on. I keep getting a whole lot of feedback. All right. Lori and Dora, I need to know if you guys are there, if you're going to start recording. All right. Why? Excuse me. Okay. See if it lets you again. All right, I got you recording. So right now I have Alex. You can go ahead and also start recording.
Yes.
Please.
I'm
Now we've got at least 4 people that are recording. I'm happy with that. Okay. Let's try this again. All right, for this particular session, we're going to utilize 18 gauge bare copper wire. Okay, you can use any gauge wire you want. I suggest that you use a thinner gauge like 18 or 20 gauge. 18 seems to have the right amount of resistance that I'm looking for in the devices that I make. So I recommend 18 gauge. The other thing is that you're going to need is your activated charcoal, okay, and water or ashes and water mixture, okay. This is what you're going to dip your wires into if you want to nano coat them first. All right, I suggest that you do so. One of the things that I do is that I will take my entire spool of wire. I'll take a paintbrush, okay, that's got nothing on it. I'll dip it into my ash water and I'll paint it onto this, or I'll dip the entire spool inside of this this container here, okay. That way I know that I have got a fully nano coated spool of wire here for everything that I make, okay. You know, it's just an easy way so you don't have to dip every individual piece of wire, and you know, sometimes it can get kind of confusing that way. Now, you're also going to need some pliers. All right, I have got to get rid of my headphones, guys, and I apologize. I have some interference that is trying to bother me, and I can't hear. So, all right, how's that working for everybody? Oh, so much better. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, that's what I need to know here. Using ash water or the activated charcoal is the organic version of nano coating. Okay, when you use a caustic solution, okay, it's chemically derived. Okay, it speeds up it accelerates the process. That's why we're using the ash. It's also a lot more prevalent around the world to use the ash water and use that as your nano coating, because not everybody has the concentrated version of lye to make the caustic solution. So in a sense, you just dip your copper wire into the water, and as soon as it goes through that water and it's submerged, it's already being nano coated. What we see as a smooth, shiny surface is actually really rough, and all of the nanomaterials in there will collect, the carbon will collect in those tiny little grooves, and that's what creates the nano coating insulation that we're looking for here. Okay. The other thing you need is a container. Okay, I got this at the dollar store here in Woodville. Okay, and you know, these were only $1, and it's glass, and we're going to utilize this as our shape. All right, this is a full-size Bic lighter. All right, so you can see just how tall this is. All right, I use a coconut oil spray can, all right, to determine how big I want my coils to be on the facing. Okay, how big do I want my rings, my capacitor rings to be? So this is my gauge, all right, so that all of mine are the same size and they all fit on each one of the faces. Okay, and that's what we're trying to determine here, is what's going to cover the most surface area. All right, but I use that spray container to wrap my my capacitor rings around. Coffee is finished. The first thing to do is to make sure you have a good workspace. Okay, I've got a total of about 12 inches here. That's plenty of workspace. And you're going to need a drill. I'll put this back up here. I'm going to show you a practice one real quick, okay, before I divulge into this deeply to continue on. To make the central core that I've created, okay, that you saw earlier, there are 4 circles, okay, 4, I think I made quad cores out of them, okay, so we're going to make the quad cores here, but we have to remember, okay, that we have a certain distance that we want these to be, all right, and so you're going to have to measure how far or how long of the wire you're going to need, all right, to start. All right, this is what you need to finish. So to go around this can here, I need that much wire, okay? And so I keep this judgment, okay, of space in mind when I'm making my bends. All right, so if I'm going to compensate the end here by this much space, then I need to move my fingers down and make it so it's about the same length. All right, that's what we're just trying to determine here, is just a length. Okay, so then from here, you're going to see me bend it. Now there are 2 field interactions, 1, 2. There are 3, and there are 4. Okay. This is how you make the quad core. These are the field interactions that we're talking about here. Okay, so this one has 4 field interactions. You take the ends that's not connected to the spool, okay, and you place it inside the drill. This one has an automatic chuck in it. okay, which tightens it down. Some of them, yours are going to be different. Okay. Always have the drill in your right hand. Always hold the wires and keep them from twisting in your left. Okay. This is the number of twists right here. That's your security feature. Okay. You put in the number of twists that you want. You just got to remember, if you twist it too hard, your wire is going to break. Okay. So if you break your wire, you got to start over, because then it kind of defeats the purpose of it being in infinity. Okay. So all we've done there is we've just taken those 4 wires and twisted them together. All right. We've just created the quad core. So now you've got an in and an out, right? Well, we're going to do the same exact thing, okay? But we're going to leave a little bit of space in here, because if you remember correctly, we're trying to make this fit around this can, so that it creates a circle, right? Now that we've created that circle, it fits right here. Okay. Now we're going to leave a little bit of space, okay? Because these are, you got one that needs to be the same size, okay? Because we're going to put this one inside. Remember, this is going in the central core. You want them all to be relatively the same size. So we're going to put 2 of these rings in here. We got to create 2 of them that are the same size, right? And I'll show you. Leave a little bit of space. How far apart do you want your rings to be? Okay. This is what you need to determine. How far apart do you want them to be? Okay. Because when we're done, we're going to take these, okay? This is where the end of the wire is going to be, and now we need to go out again, okay? About the same distance around our can, right? When you get enough practice, you realize that you don't need your measuring devices much more. All right, so we're going to fold it over. Remember, we gauged how far apart we want it right here. Okay. Creating the 3. Now we're creating the 4th one again. All right. And so we do the same thing. And like I tell everybody, and all of my videos, every chance I get, it takes 2 to tango, right? It takes 2 to tango, and everything here that we do is in repetition. Okay. So now, once again, I have another ring. That's going to fit around this can. So now I've got 2 rings. Get off of me, wire. Ooh, I'm going to be fighting. Okay. So now you've got 2 rings that are connected together here. Okay. They're in the infamous C shape that we love so much. Okay. You don't have to do anything else with these. Okay. They're already in balance. But many of you are going to want to do something with it. Okay. But you're going to understand that they're already in balance. Okay. You don't have anything to worry about. But the idea here is to put these inside, right? Well, we made these first, which means that the energy is going to pass through these first, right? Because they're in series now. You've got this one's going to be connected first. Actually, it goes backwards, so it'll be this one. This is the source wire, the one that's connected to the spool. So the energy is going to enter into this one. It's going to go through this big old mess of wires that we just twisted together, and then it's going to come out and move over to the next one, combined with all of this energy, and combine again with all of this energy in this ring. Okay? So it's got to go through here, travel all of this wire again, okay, until it comes out the end. It can only follow one path, guys, one path, and that's the path that you're choosing here, all right, when we nano coat these. Now, the other thing is I'm going to find another spool or another similar size, okay? Just so happens to be this, because I've done this before, okay? And you see how this fits inside of this circle, all right? So that means that if I make my rings next time to go around this one, then they will fit inside of these circles, okay? And we don't have to worry about it. But that's what you want, is you want it to be slightly smaller so it fits inside of these circles. And what we're doing here is we're creating and putting together two 90-degree coils when we're finished, okay? And so what we're going to do next is we're going to make another quad core that is slightly smaller than the last one that we made, okay? And I take about 2 inches off, all right? But you can use these things to gauge, all right? How far apart do you want it? Okay, you got a gauge here, where your fingers are. Okay, remember your spacing, how far apart you want it to be spacing, all right? That's where the end of this next coil needs to reach to, all right, in order to get your spacing correct, all right? So you mark it, okay, like I have done. Take it around your little coil here. So now you've got a gauge about how long you want it, right? And so from there, you just kind of give it about another inch or so, okay? Slide it out, and that's where you start your bend, okay? And then you bring it back over to this side, to the distance that you want it, okay? And you bend it again. There's no exact science in this, guys. There's no need for it. If you share the exact science in it, you know, is I did 8 inches of wire and, you know, or exactly 12 centimeters of wire and 37 twists and all of that stuff, you're just wasting your breath pretty much, because it doesn't really matter what you have, and it doesn't matter what other people have, as long as they have the same setup, the same way, the same path for this energy. Okay. Now I can feel this wire heating up as it's being twisted here, which means, you know, that my intent is being stored inside of this. Okay. And I'm going to do the same exact thing that I just did. I always pull the excess off of my spool because I don't like the extra weight that it puts on it. You know, everybody's got their own. Again, I'm judging my distance and how far apart I want it. Okay. Visualization, okay, was about that long. Okay. Remember, when you twist something, okay, it's going to shrink in its size a little bit. Once again, 4, just repeating ourselves. Okay. And my drill is always being turned in a clockwise manner every time. Okay, so I know that I've got the same direction of flow, energy flow. Okay. And now we're learning, okay, that you got the in and the out, and it's got to travel through all of these different rings, okay, before it goes to the outside, right? So let's make our rings what we want them to be. The plasma is intelligent all by itself, okay? So even if you think that you've messed up, you haven't messed up on anything. You know, you can't really mess this up because the plasma is more intelligent than we are at the moment. Okay, and we're just trying to tap into that knowledge source. Okay. Oops. Careful not to squish it too much. Okay. So now what we've got here is these 2 rings. Now I can continue on if I want to. All right, and I can continue making these little quad cores in line with this for as long as I want to, as long as I've got copper wire here, right? All right, but since this is the central core, this is all I need for my core. So I'm going to cut the wire that goes to my source end, okay, that's still connected to the spool. I'm going to connect it a little bit longer, or cut it a little bit longer than the rest of it, okay, than the other side. All right, you can see the distance here versus the distance here. This always helps me, okay, because sometimes I neglect myself in bending over this end of the wire. All right, so in order for me to counteract this and lose my place on where the energy flow is, right, I always cut the source end of the wire a little bit longer. Okay, that way I know that that long end, the long wire goes in my left hand. Okay, long for left. Okay, red is right, long is left. That's the way I am able to distinguish this in my head, because if you mess up the flow even in one spot, then you completely cut off the whole plasmatic device. Okay. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to invert this, because that's the way this is going to work, and put these rings inside the other rings. And this is going to give you a visual of what your central core is going to look like after you wrap it up in your like a capacitor. Okay, and this is all one core, guys, so, or one wire, but it still has its order of operations that it must follow. Okay, meaning that it's got to affect the first coil that it comes to. Okay, and that's where your combination of fields comes in. So now what you're seeing here, when it cooperates, is that you get to shape this however you want, because it's copper wire, for one. Okay. And then when you put your capacitors together, or you build this into your capacitors, now you're creating, okay, your central core. You've just simplified down this version, okay, with the 6 sides. You've condensed it down. Each one of these rings here is the quad core, okay, which acts like a starship reactor, the 3-sided pyramid, okay? That's what it acts like, okay? So it's creating basically 3 points in here to trap the energy on the top, to trap the energy on the bottom here, okay? To trap the energy on this ring, and to trap the energy on this ring, okay? That's in the center. So now you're getting a cube within the cube sandwich. All right, and this is just the central core. Okay? Remember, you've got the in, which would be your positive, connected to the black wire on your hot wire, your lead line, whatever you want to call it. But that source end, that's one needs to be connected to it. Okay. Now, once that energy, I'm going to use caustic on these ones, okay? But you can dip it in your ash water, your activated charcoal. You can do whatever you need for it, and you know, to get it nano coated. I'm going to use cold caustic that I've made, okay, the one that I made the other day, okay, on video. I'm going to use that one to nano coat this after we're done, okay? So I'm going to be using the spray caustic. Now, this is what it's going to look like when you're done, all right? And, you know, it'll be a little bit thicker. It's going to be wrapped with aluminum foil and paper towels, okay? Once it's done, all right? But I'm just showing you how to build this right now, okay? And remember that these are in the C shape, okay? I haven't quite figured out yet how I want to connect them in the capacitor method, so we're kind of living and learning as we go here. And I'm not even sure that I need this wire in here. The idea with all of this, when it's run with one wire, okay, is that you get an in and an out, right? The direction of flow is here, goes through this mess, and comes out this side, all right? So that's what we're working with. We're going to nano coat these and with cold caustic. And once they're done, okay, I literally am going to have to break them back apart like this, all right? And then I will dip these back inside of the ash water to seal up any breakages as I'm making the capacitor, okay? That's why I'm going to be doing it this way. But for saving space, during my nano coating procedures, okay, that's what I'll be, I'm going to have it in this shape right here, all right? We'll figure it out. So this is your central core. This is what it'll look like when we're done, all right? And this will fit in the bottom of your devices. Here, let's do it this way. Like so. All right. And you'll have a positive and a negative, or an in and an out, okay, that comes out of your container here. These right here will then connect to the ring capacitors that we're going to make for the outside here, okay, to encompass this. And we'll connect it all in series on the outside as well, so that when you plug it in, you're creating that induction field. This design isn't going to be much bigger than this glass jar here. Okay. All right, that was the central core. Let's go ahead and stop recording, guys.